Hi. Okay, this is just a short little video of some of my tools for neck, shoulder, upper body tension and pain. Sometimes it can ease it, sometimes eliminate it entirely after a few days of doing these exercises. But, you know, worst case, they're very gentle. They're not going to aggravate anything further. So starting on your back, especially if you're kind of flared up already, if you're sort of feeling like a little almost like tender to the touch or nervy, getting yourself in a really supported position. I just have a little pad and towel. Sometimes it'll take you like a little bit of time to kind of figure out how to best support yourself laying down where you feel totally or as tension free as possible. So you can use a variation of either, you know, the little towel under the neck just to make sure you're not kind of tucking the chin, or depending on how you're feeling, you might prefer having just like a little something underneath your neck. Okay, so take your time setting this up. Knees can be bent with feet on the floor. If that in itself feels too tense, you can go to putting like pillows or something under your legs and just letting your legs rest, okay? Hands just resting on the rib cage and just getting into your breathing, so taking a while for that breath to settle. I usually like doing a few knee drops while I'm trying to let my upper body settle, so letting the knees float open to the side and just slowly back in. So taking this opportunity to really just kind of let yourself be held by whatever supports you've put underneath you. You can also try putting pillows under your elbows, just whatever position kind of gets you in that zone where you feel like you're not further aggravating whatever pain you're experiencing. So just getting into that breathing. And just easy head and neck, so just finding a place you can look at that feels comfortable. And you can open up the hands so that the fingertips are facing or pointing towards the ceiling, palms are facing each other, and just very slowly letting yourself reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Breathe here. Don't forget to breathe. That's probably the most important part here, and then just letting the elbows float back towards the mat or the pillows that are underneath your elbows. And you can do that a few times. This is really like experiential movement, I guess you could call it. So however many times you want to do this, or as little times you want to do this, really breathing and taking breaks whenever you need to. So kind of getting a sense of whatever pain you already feel, and not to be too philosophical, but kind of accepting that level of pain that you're already in. And just noticing if any of these movements increase the pain. So what we're hoping is that these movements don't increase the pain, but you might just be experiencing like just a general level of discomfort. And that's okay, yeah, while you're doing this. If something creates a sharp, nervy pain, you want to adjust or just take a rest and try something a little bit different, okay? From here, we can give the arms a rest, and we can try doing some of those little head movements where we just let our eyeballs start to look down and maybe just drag the head into a little bit of a nod. And then just letting the eyeballs look back up, breathing. And you can do this a few times, and this doesn't necessarily need to be, well, it really shouldn't be a big movement at all. We're moving the skull on the top of the vertebrae, not trying to actively move the neck. So trying not to get again into any sort of nervy situation. You can experiment that way, and then you can also just see if your eyes can drag the head the other direction, breathing, and then just coming back. And again, it's kind of exploratory, so your body might prefer moving one way versus the other way, and just kind of go with that, yeah? So kind of go with what your body is saying is comfortable here. You're breathing, and then you can also experiment with looking to one side or the other, okay? So it's the same idea, letting your eyes kind of drag across, holding and breathing, and then just letting yourself come back to center. You can do that a few times to one side, and then just thinking about or trying to go to the other direction. So again, only going within the ranges that feel comfortable. And then we can go back to the arms, slowly reaching the arms up, breathing, and then going into a little bit of rotating of the arms, and then rotating the other way, and breathing. And you can try doing this one arm at a time. You can do both arms at the same time, just as you breathe. Checking in with whatever props you're using. Maybe the neck is feeling tense with something under your head. Feels better with nothing under the head. So just getting into that breathing and rotating. And then you can add a little bit like of a reach towards the ceiling, and then just letting the shoulder blades get heavy again as you rotate the arms the other way. And again, I'm kind of moving through this fast. I mean, it doesn't seem like it probably seems super boring, but I am moving through this fast just for the sake of the video and giving you some tools for your toolkit here. So just these little, good. And depending on the day, that might be about as far as you get. You may just want to go back to resting, maybe go back to those little knee drops, maybe just sit with the knees together. If you're progressing this, I like to move, so when I'm progressing into some bigger movements, into small circles with the arms. Again, just kind of feeling where you're at and really just making sure you're breathing, checking the position of the head and neck, just kind of doing a little mental scan through your body for tension points. And then you can reverse the circles, just breathing. And again, you might want to stop there. If you're wanting a few more little things to do, you can experiment with moving the arms into different planes of movement. So opening to the side. And again, you might get an inch to the side and back, and you might, if you're feeling some kind of neural pain, you might have a very limited range of motion here. And it might get a little bit bigger either by the repetition or by the day. And you can also experiment with letting one arm go overhead and back. Again, you're breathing, so taking that breath, trying not to rush through it. And then I always like to go back to those rotating arms and reaching the fingertips to the ceiling, those protraction, retraction, gentle movements of the arms and shoulders. And then you might decide to go back to a few little head movements here. Again, just breathing, settling here. If you're feeling comfortable enough, you can progress to laying on your side, finding a really supported position of the head, neck, and shoulders. So if you have pillows here, you can kind of prop them up. You can put a pillow between your inner thigh if you need to. And then just going towards sort of sideline arm work, where we do the rotation here. Yeah. Breathing. And then you can add that sort of reach action. Again, just whatever feels comfortable for you. And again, I'm kind of going through this at quite a pace. Again, it seems like not, but you can do this so slow. And then seeing if you can progress into little arm waves where the arm comes down parallel to the floor, and then the arm floats back up. Yeah. So we're essentially just exploring our comfortable ranges of motion. You can go to maybe the arm coming up by the ear, and you might find that in one direction you can move quite far and it feels great, and maybe in another direction you can't really move that far and you're like, nope, I'll just keep going the way that feels comfortable. And just making sure you're breathing with each action. So maybe an exhale and an inhale, or the reverse. And you can bring the arm down. If you have some pillows supporting your head, you can start to experiment with looking back and just kind of rolling the rib cage open, and you want to make sure the neck is really supported here, so you can just go into that gentle rotation, one side of the rib cage moving back, breathing here. And again, these are just options depending on how you're feeling, and then just coming back. And again, just noticing, am I just in the same amount of pain, or is my pain increasing or decreasing? So you definitely don't want the pain to increase. But if it's just like an underlying pain that you're experiencing, it's often better to get a little bit of movement than to hold still. Yeah. Again, just that easy rotation. And then if you're doing this on one side, you're also going to want to do this on the other side. Yeah. Okay, those are just a few exercises. You can see how you do with those, and then maybe we'll add a few more in a few days. Okay.